Ethan adjusted the controls of his exploration ship, eyes scanning the instruments as the dying star ahead cast pale light across the cockpit. The mission had seemed routine at first. Chart the edge of a recently discovered system and gather energy readings. But space was rarely routine, and the faint signal they had detected had an unusual pattern that no one in the team had ever seen before. It pulsed like a heartbeat, steady but alive, calling out in a way that was almost intentional. His co-pilot, Mara, glanced nervously at him. "Ethan, this signal, it's strong, but I don't recognize it. Sensors say it's artificial, maybe." Ethan nodded, a thrill of curiosity running through him. Humanity had always been drawn to the unknown, and this was exactly why he had joined the exploration program. "Let's get closer. I want a visual scan. We need to know what we're dealing with before we report it back." As they approached the source, a sudden warning light flashed across the console. "Missiles incoming!" Mara shouted, her hands flying over the controls. Ethan's heart pounded, but his mind cleared instantly. He pulled the ship into a sharp maneuver, dodging the first barrage with a jolt. The second volley missed by inches, tearing streaks across the void. The attackers were fast, faster than any human ship they had ever faced. Yet Ethan remained calm. "We're not out of this yet. Keep the shields up and hold steady," he said, his voice firm. The alien vessel loomed closer, its design unlike anything they had ever seen. Smooth curves of black and silver, almost organic in its movement. It seemed to glide rather than fly. Ethan realized with a sinking feeling that these weren't explorers, they were hunters. The signal had been a trap. He made a split-second decision. "We're going down to that planet," he said, pointing toward a lush world below, barely visible through the glare of the star. "It's our only chance." Mara's eyes widened. "But it's uncharted. We don't know what's there." Ethan didn't answer. He focused on the landing sequence, guiding the damaged ship through turbulent atmosphere. Dodging jagged rock formations and violent wind currents, every instinct he had honed through years of training came alive. And finally, with a crash that shook the cabin, they landed. The ship groaned, sparks flying, but it held together. Before they could breathe a sigh of relief, Ethan noticed movement beyond the wreckage. Figures, tall and graceful, stepped out from the dense alien forest. They wore armor that shimmered in the strange light, their faces hidden behind smooth helmets. Ethan raised his hands, showing he meant no harm, but the aliens approached cautiously. Weapons at the ready, a voice spoke, clear and commanding. "Bring them to the Queen." Ethan felt a sudden chill run down his spine. He had read about alien monarchies, about rulers whose presence alone could command fear and loyalty, but nothing could have prepared him for this. His mind raced, searching for options, but there was only one choice. He allowed himself to be led. The journey through the alien world was like nothing he had ever imagined. Towering trees with translucent leaves glowed softly in the dim light, and rivers of liquid crystal wound between jagged cliffs. Strange creatures flitted through the foliage, watching them with eyes that reflected both curiosity and caution. Ethan tried to take it all in, but his attention was on the Queen, whoever she was. Finally, they arrived at a grand structure, rising from the center of a crystalline plateau. It was a palace, though not like anything on Earth. Its spires reached toward the sky like fingers, and the walls seemed to ripple with energy. The aliens ushered Ethan into a hall where the Queen awaited. Liara sat on a raised throne, her form both alien and regal. Her skin shimmered like polished metal, and her eyes held a depth that made Ethan's heart skip a beat. He had faced danger in many forms, but nothing could have prepared him for the weight of her presence. Around her, members of the court watched silently, their expressions a mix of curiosity and disbelief. Ethan felt the air thicken with tension. He had studied diplomacy and first contact protocols, but theory was never preparation for this moment. He bowed slightly, careful to show respect without appearing weak. Liara's voice was calm, almost melodic. "Human, your species is not often seen here. Tell me, why should I not consider you fragile and insignificant? Ethan straightened, meeting her gaze. Because survival doesn't always depend on size or strength, he replied. Sometimes it's courage, quick thinking, and compassion that matter more. I don't know your customs, but I respect your people. I would never harm them without cause. The Queen studied him, her gaze piercing yet unreadable. We will see if your actions match your words. Over the next days, Ethan was observed closely. He was tested in small ways, at first tasks meant to challenge his intelligence and adaptability. He deciphered alien symbols, repaired minor machinery, and navigated unfamiliar terrain with nothing but his instincts and human ingenuity. Each success drew quiet attention from Liara. Though she remained distant, a figure of authority whose approval was not easily earned. One morning, as he helped an alien engineer stabilize a damaged transport, a sudden tremor shook the hall. Debris fell, and one of the young aliens, a child no older than Ethan's younger sister, was trapped beneath a beam. Without hesitation, Ethan ran forward, lifting the weight with a strength born of determination and adrenaline. The child looked at him with wide, trusting eyes, and for the first time, he saw the Queen's expression soften. Liara observed from her throne, the faintest curve of her lips hinting at approval. The court murmured among themselves. Ethan's courage and compassion were rare, almost unheard of in their society. He had faced danger without arrogance, acted without expectation of reward, and shown a humanity that resonated deeply with them. That evening, Ethan was brought before the Queen again. You are unlike any human we have encountered, Liara said. Most would have fled, most would have failed. Yet here you are, calm and steady, even when everything around you threatens to destroy you. Ethan bowed again, unsure of what more to say. I only do what I must, he said simply. Liara's gaze held him, studying him as if she could peer into the very essence of his being. Bravery is not simply facing danger. It is acting rightly when fear is strongest. You have shown this, human. And yet, her eyes flicked to the horizon, where faint storms brood over the alien forests. There is more to come, more trials. Courage is only the beginning. Ethan swallowed hard. He had faced pirates, rogue planets, and cosmic anomalies, but he had never been tested in a way that felt so personal, so intertwined with the fate of an entire world. And yet, despite the fear and uncertainty, he felt a spark of excitement. This was what humanity was built for: the unknown, the impossible, the moment when one's heart and mind were pushed beyond their limits. That night, as he rested in a chamber provided by the aliens, Ethan thought of Earth, of his family and friends, and of the vastness of space. He realized that bravery was not a singular act but a choice, repeated endlessly. The Queen's presence, though intimidating, did not scare him. Instead, it inspired him to be more than he had ever imagined. When dawn came, he was ready. The trials Liara had promised would begin today, and he knew they would challenge every part of him physically, mentally, and morally. But he also knew something else: that the actions of one human could earn respect and even admiration from beings far beyond Earth. That in itself was a kind of victory. The doors to the hall opened, and Ethan stepped forward, the morning light catching the edges of his uniform. The Queen awaited him, and with her, the eyes of a world, and perhaps even more than a world. In that moment, he understood that his journey had only just begun, and in the quiet strength of his heart, he vowed, no matter the danger, no matter the trials ahead, he would face them with courage, ingenuity, and the very best of humanity. Ethan stepped into the hall again, his boots echoing softly against the smooth crystal floor. The alien court waited in silence, their expressions a mixture of curiosity and cautious respect. At the center, Queen Liara sat on her throne, her eyes fixed on him. Today would begin the trials she had promised, and he could feel the weight of expectation pressing on him. Your first test begins in the forest, Liara said, her voice calm but commanding. You must navigate to the source of a signal that disrupts the life of our people. Fail, and you endanger more than yourself. Succeed, and you will prove your intelligence and courage." Ethan nodded. He had faced dangerous situations before, but this was different. The forest was alive in ways that defied human logic. Trees towered higher than skyscrapers, their leaves glowing with a soft, ethereal light. Strange creatures scuttled between roots and branches, some curious, some clearly predatory. He could feel the energy of the forest, pulsing almost like a heartbeat. He moved carefully, relying on his senses more than the instruments in his damaged ship. Every step required attention, misjudged the terrain, and he could fall or provoke one of the unseen creatures. Yet, even in this alien environment, he relied on reasoning, intuition, and human adaptability. After hours of careful navigation, Ethan reached the source of the disruption. A crystalline node emitted a pulsing energy that made the surrounding creatures restless and disoriented. He studied it, noting its structure and the way the energy radiated. Using his engineering skills and quick thinking, he adjusted the node's alignment and neutralized the dangerous pulse. The forest gradually calmed, the creatures resuming their natural behaviors. When he returned to the court, Queen Liara's eyes reflected something new: approval. "You solved the problem without harming the forest," she said. "That is clever human. Many of our own would have destroyed the source to stop it." 18. Ethan allowed himself a small nod, but said nothing. Words were less powerful than action, and he preferred to let results speak for themselves. The next trial came the following day. This time, it was a test of endurance and moral judgment. Liara guided him to a canyon, where a river of liquid fire flowed between jagged cliffs. The task seemed impossible. Transport a group of young alien trainees across the dangerous terrain without using the flying vehicles or safety nets provided to her own warriors. Ethan examined the situation carefully. He noticed that certain stones protruded from the fiery river, forming a rough path. Using ropes and clever balance techniques, he led the young trainees across one by one. Several times, he had to leap or reach with outstretched arms, risking his own safety to ensure they made it across. When he finally reached the other side, the Queen's voice echoed across the canyon. "You risked your life for those who could not protect themselves. That is bravery and honor." Ethan's chest tightened. He did not perform these acts for recognition or reward. It was instinctive: help those in need, protect the vulnerable, act rightly. But he could sense that Liara's respect for him grew with every action, and he wondered how a being so powerful viewed humans. As days passed, the trials became more complex. Ethan had to solve alien puzzles that required both logic and creativity, negotiate with sentient beings whose motivations were inscrutable, and survive environments that would have killed any human unprepared. Each success added to his growing understanding of the alien world, and each failure was met with careful observation rather than punishment. Liara seemed more interested in his character than in perfection. During one trial, a sudden threat emerged. A group of hostile alien creatures attacked the court's outer perimeter. While Liara's warriors prepared for battle, Ethan noticed a weakness in the creature's formation. Acting quickly, he organized a counter-strategy using environmental features, falling rocks, shifting energy barriers, and clever traps. With minimal harm to the creatures and without unnecessary violence, he managed to neutralize the threat. The court watched in stunned silence. A human had orchestrated a solution their warriors could not. Liara's eyes held a rare glimmer of admiration. "Your mind is sharp, human. Your bravery is matched by your wisdom." Beyond the trials, Ethan began to witness the lives of Liara's people more closely. He saw families living in harmony with the energy of their world, communities built on mutual respect, and children learning to navigate the complex ecosystems of their planet. Unlike many humans who saw aliens as merely obstacles or curiosities, he treated them as equals. His compassion became as noticeable as his bravery. One evening, a young alien child was trapped in a sudden lightning storm. Ethan did not hesitate. He ran through the violent winds, shielding the child with his body and leading them to safety. The Queen, who had been observing from a distance, did not intervene. She watched silently as he risked himself for someone so small and vulnerable. And her respect deepened. That night, Liara spoke to him privately. You have faced challenges that test strength, intellect, and courage. But it is your heart that sets you apart. Compassion is rare in your kind. You act not for reward, not for recognition, but because it is right. That is the greatest strength I have seen. Thanks for watching. And also you are to view our own. And the member supported and use all the people that boast. And their one signed. I'm in a for their one. All the people that boast. And also you are a. Ethan felt a warmth in his chest. He had never sought admiration, yet the Queen's words carried a weight that no human praise could match. I do what I can, he said simply. That is all any of us can do. The trials were not only physical or mental, they tested morality and leadership. Ethan had to make choices that affected entire communities of alien beings. In one scenario, he discovered a colony at risk from a collapsing energy field. He could have evacuated only himself and his team, as the aliens suggested. But he chose to stay and coordinate a rescue for the entire colony. It was exhausting, dangerous, and nearly impossible. Yet, by combining ingenuity, quick decision-making, and calm leadership, he succeeded. Liara watched from her throne as the last of the colony was saved. You have proven yourself in ways few can comprehend, she said softly. Humanity may be fragile in body, but it carries courage that surpasses even the bravest of my people. Ethan began to notice subtle changes in the court. The alien advisors, once skeptical, began to treat him with cautious respect. The Queen's own demeanor shifted. While she remained regal and commanding, there was a softness in her gaze when it fell upon him. Ethan did not know what the future held, but he felt the growing bond of trust and understanding between them. One day, during a routine observation of the forest, Ethan discovered a nest of rare alien creatures threatened by a spreading wildfire. He could have ignored the danger, focusing instead on his assigned trial, but he acted instinctively. Using knowledge of fire behavior, quick thinking, and coordination with the local aliens, he guided the creatures to safety. When he returned, Liara addressed him in front of the court. Your actions speak louder than any words. You show bravery, wisdom, and compassion in every challenge. You do not seek glory. You seek what is right. The court erupted in quiet murmurs of amazement. Humans were often underestimated, seen as fragile and weak. Yet here was one who had proven them wrong at every turn. Ethan realized that his bravery and humanity were earning not just respect, but a recognition that transcended culture, species, and expectation. Even in moments of rest, the Queen's presence lingered in his thoughts. There was something magnetic about her, a combination of authority, grace, and curiosity. He did not know if she admired him personally or simply respected the human qualities he embodied. But he knew that his actions had changed the perception of his entire species. As the sun set over the glowing forests, Ethan stood at the edge of a cliff, watching the alien world stretch endlessly before him. He thought of Earth, of his family, and of all the humans who had ever dared to face the unknown. They were brave, resilient, and capable of more than any alien could imagine. And he had proven it. When night fell, Liara summoned him to her chamber. Her expression was unreadable, yet there was a spark of curiosity in her eyes. Tomorrow, she said, your greatest trial will begin. It will test not only your bravery and intelligence, but the very essence of your character. Are you ready? Ethan nodded, determination burning in his chest. He did not know what the trial would entail, but he knew one thing. He would face it as he had faced everything else, with courage, quick thinking, and the best of humanity. As he left the chamber, he glanced back at the Queen. For the first time, he felt that he was not merely a visitor or a subject of observation. He was part of something larger, something that transcended species. The trials had revealed more than his skills, they had revealed his heart, and in the quiet of the alien night, He realized that bravery alone could open doors. No weapon, no technology, and no power could. Whatever lay ahead, he was ready to meet it. Because humanity, in its essence, never shied away from the impossible. The morning air was crisp and electric as Ethan stepped into the grand hall, his mind already racing with anticipation. He had passed countless trials, each testing courage, intelligence, and compassion. Yet, he could sense this trial would be different. The weight of the Queen's gaze followed him as he approached the center of the room, and he realized that this challenge would measure not just skill, but the essence of who he was. Liara's voice, calm yet commanding, filled the hall. Human, your next trial is unlike the others. A great danger approaches, one that threatens not only my people, but the very survival of this world. You must act, and your choices will determine the outcome. There is no guide, no instruction, only your judgment. Ethan's heart beat faster, but fear did not cloud his mind. He had faced impossible situations before, and had always relied on logic, courage, and humanity. He nodded. I understand. The doors opened, and a massive holographic map projected into the center of the room, showing the alien world in intricate detail. A storm of energy, a swirling vortex of destructive power, moved steadily toward the planet's core settlements. If it reached them, entire cities would be wiped out. Liara's advisors murmured in alarm. But Ethan's eyes focused on the problem. He quickly assessed the situation. The energy vortex could not be stopped with conventional weapons. It fed on energy sources, amplifying its destructive force with every strike. Ethan realized that to save the planet, he would need to use ingenuity rather than brute force. He began to formulate a plan, drawing on everything he had learned during the trials, combining human innovation with observations of alien technology. Hours passed as Ethan coordinated with Liara's engineers and strategists. He instructed them to create a series of energy dampeners, devices that would absorb and redirect the destructive force of the storm. It required precise timing, deep knowledge of alien energy systems, and perfect coordination among the team. Even the Queen's advisors looked doubtful. Yet Ethan's calm confidence inspired them to act. As the vortex drew closer, Ethan personally entered the danger zones, installing dampeners in locations where even the bravest aliens hesitated to go. Lightning-like energy streaked across the sky, and the ground trembled beneath his feet. Twice, he narrowly avoided being struck by arcs of raw energy. Yet he pressed on, relying on instinct, quick reflexes, and his human determination. At one point, a young alien technician slipped and was caught in the surge of unstable energy. Without hesitation, Ethan sprinted forward, scooping the technician into his arms and shielding them with his own body. Sparks danced dangerously close, but he held firm, guiding the terrified alien to safety. Liara observed from a distance, her eyes wide with a mixture of concern and admiration. By the afternoon, the dampeners were in place. Ethan activated them remotely, redirecting the storm's energy into controlled channels that harmlessly dissipated into the planet's atmosphere. The vortex shrieked as its power was absorbed, its fury contained by the combination of alien technology and human ingenuity. Slowly, it weakened and collapsed, leaving the planet intact. The court erupted in astonishment. Aliens who had doubted him now bowed in respect. Even Liara's usual calm expression gave way to a rare smile. She descended from her throne, approaching Ethan with measured steps. "You have done what none of my people could achieve," she said, her voice filled with genuine admiration. "You faced the greatest danger with courage, intelligence, and heart. You have saved us all." Ethan felt a rush of relief, but also humility. "I only did what I had to," he said. "Anyone would have acted the same." Liara shook her head. "No. Humans are often underestimated. Many would have acted recklessly or fled. You thought, planned, and acted with precision and compassion. That is rare, even among the strongest of my people." In the days that followed, Ethan's reputation spread across the planet. Stories of the human who saved the alien world reached even the most distant settlements. He was invited to observe council meetings, participate in strategic discussions, and walk freely among the people. Everywhere he went, whispers of amazement followed. The fragile human had shown strength that surpassed their expectations. Yet, it was not only his actions that drew attention. Liara found herself observing him in moments of quiet thought, noting how he treated everyone with respect, listened to their concerns, and never acted out of arrogance. There was a kindness in him, a balance between courage and humility that resonated deeply with her. One evening, Liara summoned him privately. The chamber was vast, bathed in soft light from the crystalline walls. "Human, you have proven bravery beyond measure," she said. "But there is another quality I see in you, something deeper. You do not act for recognition or reward. You act because it is right. That is a strength my people have long admired, yet few possess. It sets you apart." Ethan nodded, uncertain how to respond. "I have learned much from your people," he said. "They are brave, wise, and compassionate. I only hope I can live up to the example they set." Liara studied him, her gaze unwavering. "You have exceeded it. You have shown that humanity, though small in body, carries a spirit that can change worlds. I have witnessed it firsthand, and that is why I must make a decision that no one in my court has dared before." Ethan felt a sudden tension, mixed with curiosity and apprehension. "What decision?" he asked cautiously. The Queen's expression softened. "You have proven that courage, intelligence, and compassion can bridge worlds. You have earned respect not just from me, but from all who have seen your actions. I wish to honor you in a way that signifies not only admiration but trust and union between our species." Ethan's heart skipped a beat. He had faced life-threatening danger, navigated alien politics, and survived impossible trials. But he had not expected this. I don't understand," he admitted, his voice steady but tinged with surprise. Liara's eyes glimmered. "I am offering you a bond, human. A partnership that is rare and significant among my people. One that is granted only to those who have proven themselves in every way that matters. You have earned this by your actions, by your bravery, and by your heart." Ethan's mind raced. He had never imagined that a human could be recognized on this level by an alien species, much less offered a personal bond with their queen. The weight of the moment was immense, yet he felt a strange calm. His choices, his courage, his humanity had led him to this point. "I am honored," he said finally. "If this bond is meant to symbolize trust and respect, then I accept." Liara's expression softened further, and she inclined her head. "Then it is done. You are not merely a visitor to our world. You are recognized as one who has bridged the gap between species, showing that courage, heart, and wisdom are universal values." In the following days, Ethan began to understand the depth of this union. He was invited into ceremonies, introduced to the Queen's closest advisors, and allowed unprecedented access to the inner workings of her world. Everywhere he went, he saw the results of his actions. Lives saved, communities strengthened, and a new perception of humanity blossoming among the aliens. Even in quiet moments, he noticed the Queen observing him not with scrutiny, but with genuine interest. He saw the admiration and respect she held, not just for his bravery, but for his character, and he realized that the trials had been more than tests of skill. They had been a way to reveal the qualities that defined humanity at its best. One night, as Ethan walked through the glowing alien gardens, he thought of Earth and the people he had left behind. He realized that bravery was not simply about facing danger, but about choosing to act rightly when faced with impossible odds. Compassion, intelligence, and courage were not separate traits, they were interconnected, forming the essence of humanity. Liara approached him silently, her presence commanding yet gentle. "You have shown more than I could have imagined," she said. "Your actions will be remembered for generations, not just by my people, but by history itself. Humans are capable of greatness beyond measure, and you are living proof." Ethan felt a mixture of pride and humility. He had not acted for recognition, but the acknowledgement of his bravery and humanity filled him with a quiet satisfaction. He understood that his journey was far from over, yet he also realized that he had proven something profound. One human, guided by courage and heart, could change the course of an entire world. As he gazed at the stars beyond the palace, Ethan knew that the greatest trials were not yet complete. Challenges would come, dangers would rise, and the future would demand even more. But he also knew that he was ready. Human bravery, ingenuity, and compassion had carried him this far, and they would continue to guide him in the days ahead. And in the silent strength of his resolve, he understood a truth that would shape the rest of his life. Courage was not measured by the battles fought, but by the choices made when all hope seemed lost. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, and he was living proof of that potential. The morning light spilled across the palace, casting long, glowing shadows on the crystalline walls. Ethan walked through the corridors, each step filled with anticipation and reflection. He had faced trials that tested his courage, intelligence, and compassion. He had navigated alien landscapes, solved impossible problems, and protected lives at great personal risk. And now, the final stage of his journey approached, not a test of skill, but a choice that would define the bond between him and the alien world he had saved. The court gathered in the central hall, buzzing with curiosity and respect. Every alien, from the youngest trainee to the most senior advisor, had come to witness the moment. At the center, Queen Liara waited, her presence as commanding and regal as ever. Yet there was a softness in her eyes that had not been there before. Ethan felt a sense of calm determination. He had earned the respect of these people through action, and now he would face whatever recognition the queen intended. Liara rose from her throne, her voice carrying clearly across the hall. "Human, your actions have proven the courage and wisdom of your species. You have faced dangers none of my people could overcome, yet you did so with compassion and honor. Today, you are not only recognized as a hero, but as someone whose character exemplifies the highest values of humanity." Ethan bowed respectfully, keeping his gaze steady. "I only did what I had to," he said. "The people here deserved protection. That was all that mattered." Liara's gaze softened, and she stepped forward. "What you did matters far more than you realize. You have bridged worlds, showing that bravery and compassion are universal values. And for this, I wish to honor you in a way no other has been honored among my people." A hush fell over the hall as the queen continued. Ethan could feel the weight of the moment pressing on him, a mixture of anticipation and disbelief. He had faced life-threatening storms, hostile creatures, and impossible trials, yet none of that compared to the significance of what was happening now. Liara extended her hand, her eyes locking onto his. "Ethan, I offer you a bond. A partnership, recognized by my people, that signifies not just admiration, but trust, respect, and union between our worlds. This bond is granted only to those who have proven themselves in every way that matters, and you have done so." Ethan's heart raced. The gravity of the offer was overwhelming, but he felt a quiet certainty. His journey had led him to this moment, his bravery and humanity recognized in a way he had never imagined possible. "I am honored," he said finally. "If this bond signifies trust and respect, I gladly accept." A wave of excitement and quiet murmurs spread through the court. The alien advisors, once skeptical, now looked at him with awe. The young trainees whispered in amazement, inspired by the human who had saved their world and earned the queen's recognition. Even Liara's closest confidants bowed in acknowledgement, understanding the significance of what had just occurred. The queen guided him to the ceremonial chamber, a space filled with glowing crystal formations that bathed the room in soft light. Here, the union would be formally recognized. Ethan observed the intricate symbols etched into the walls, representations of harmony, trust, and partnership among the aliens. It was clear that this bond was not only personal, but also deeply cultural. a union that carried meaning for generations. As they stood together, Liara spoke softly, almost to herself. You have shown that humanity, though small in form, possesses a spirit capable of greatness. Courage, intelligence, compassion, they all reside within you. You are a living testament to the potential of your species. Ethan felt a profound sense of humility and pride. He had never sought admiration, yet the Queen's words resonated deeply. He realized that bravery was not only about facing danger, it was about choosing what is right, even when the outcome is uncertain, and acting with integrity and heart. The ceremony began, simple yet striking. Ethan and Liara stood before the court as the symbols of the Union glowed softly around them. The energy in the chamber seemed to respond to their presence, a subtle acknowledgement of the bond forming between them. Each alien present could sense the sincerity and strength of the connection. A union built not on power or wealth, but on shared respect and recognition of character. Liara placed a hand gently on Ethan's arm, her touch both formal and reassuring. This bond is not merely symbolic, she said. It represents the union of courage and compassion. The recognition that humanity can rise to meet the greatest challenges and earn the trust of even the most advanced civilizations. It is a union of hearts and of worlds. Ethan met her gaze and felt a quiet resolve. I accept this responsibility, he said, not for glory, not for reward, but to honor the trust you and your people have placed in me. I will do my best to live up to it. The court responded with a mixture of respect and admiration. It was clear that Ethan's bravery and humanity had changed not only Liara's perception, but also that of her entire world. Humans were no longer seen as fragile, unpredictable, or weak. They were recognized as capable of greatness, guided by courage, intelligence, and heart. In the days that followed, Ethan began to integrate further into the life of Liara's world. He participated in council meetings, shared insights from his human perspective, and observed the alien society with curiosity and respect. Everywhere he went, he was reminded of the impact a single individual could have when guided by bravery and integrity. He spent time with the people he had saved, learning their ways and listening to their stories. He discovered that courage was not measured by battles fought alone, but by the willingness to act for the good of others, even at great personal risk. His actions had inspired hope and confidence, showing that one human could indeed make a difference on a grand scale. Liara observed him closely, noting not only his abilities but the character that had earned him such respect. She saw how he treated every alien with consideration, how he led without arrogance, and how he remained calm and thoughtful in the face of challenge. It was rare for her people to encounter beings who could match their intelligence and courage so consistently, and she recognized that Ethan represented something extraordinary. One evening, as they walked through the glowing gardens of the palace, Liara spoke quietly. Human, you have proven yourself in ways I never expected. Your actions, your courage, your heart, they have earned the respect of all my people, but more than that, you have shown me the essence of what humanity can be. That is why this bond is more than ceremonial. It is recognition of who you are, and the potential of your kind. Ethan looked at her, feeling a mixture of humility and pride. I only did what any person should, he said. I hope that my actions inspire others to do the same. Liara smiled softly, a rare warmth in her expression. They will. You have set a standard that will be remembered for generations. Your bravery, your wisdom, and your compassion have changed the perception of your entire species, and that is a remarkable achievement. As the sun set over the alien world, Ethan realized that his journey had transformed him as well. He had learned that true courage was not simply facing danger, but choosing to act rightly when all hope seemed lost. Humanity's strength was not in weapons or technology alone, but in the capacity to think, to feel, and to act with integrity. The celebration that followed was filled with joy and admiration. Aliens from across the planet gathered to honor the human who had saved their world. Ethan was recognized not just as a hero, but as a symbol of the potential of his species. Stories of his bravery spread quickly, inspiring future generations to embrace courage, compassion, and wisdom. Liara remained by his side, her presence both reassuring and powerful. Together, they walked through the palace, observing the life of her people, understanding the deep bond that had formed between them. The Queen's proposal had not been merely an honor. It was a recognition of humanity's capacity to rise to greatness and earn respect through character and action. In the quiet of the night, Ethan reflected on everything he had faced, the trials, the dangers, the impossible decisions. He understood that bravery was not a singular act, but a continuous choice to do what is right. And in doing so, he had earned something extraordinary. Not only the respect of an alien world, but the bond of a queen who recognized his worth. The stars shone brightly above the alien forests, and Ethan felt a deep connection to both Earth and the world he had saved. He had proven that humanity could rise to meet the highest challenges, and he had done so with courage, intelligence, and heart. And as he stood beside Queen Liara, he knew that this was only the beginning. Together, they would face whatever the universe presented, guided by mutual respect, trust, and the recognition that bravery and compassion could shape not just the fate of one world, but the destiny of many. Ethan's journey had started as a mission to explore the unknown, but it had become something far greater. He had earned admiration, respect, and trust not through force, but through humanity, the bravery, intelligence, and heart that defined his species. And in doing so, he had become a bridge between worlds, a living testament to the potential of humans in the vast, uncharted universe. The Queen's hand rested lightly on his arm, a gesture of partnership and trust. Ethan smiled, feeling a quiet pride and deep responsibility. He had faced the impossible and emerged stronger, not just for himself, but for his species and the alien world he now called home. In that moment, beneath the alien stars, surrounded by a world that had once seemed unreachable, Ethan understood the full meaning of bravery. It was more than courage in the face of danger. It was the ability to act rightly, to protect, to inspire, and to lead with heart. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, and he had shown that it could do so with honor, intelligence, and compassion.